Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm your host Sandman. Today I'm going to be reviewing the lockpicking karate belt ranking system. Let's get into it. So in my past couple videos, such as the covert instruments, FNG, and my Lock Lab 2023 video, I have shown these either in the background or may have briefly discussed them, and people are sending me private messages. People are leaving comments asking me what it is. And I've tried not to really talk about it because it was a product that I wanted to put out to the general public to sell off of my website. I've taken this idea to multiple distributors and manufacturers that cater to the Locksport industry. Nobody's interested in it. And I just don't have the kind of money to bring this to fruition and release this to the public. I'm just not that kind of guy, financially speaking. So I might as well just talk about it here. So essentially, the Reddit community has created and gamified the hobby of Locksport. And they essentially created 9 different levels of difficulty, 1 through 9, or in this case, white to black belt, of all the locks in the world, almost all the locks in the world. I mean, there's thousands and tens of thousands of different locks and cylinders, but they have several thousand of these locks classified, and there's new locks being added every single year. And I think what they've done is just amazing. And so that's what my life revolves around now, is trying to work my way through the belt ranking system. Let's go ahead and just talk about that. So the lockpicking karate belt ranking system, this project was written as a fun game on reddit.com, subreddit lockpicking. It has since become very popular and represents the work of many dedicated moderators and individuals. You may feel free to use this system for your group or local club, provided you abide by its Creative Commons license. The authors of this are Tumblr, Ith, Developer, Ever, Superllama, Loop Guru 21, Pot Kettle Racism, and Correct Genes. So I've known Tumblr since 2014. He was a former martial artist, and that's how he was inspired to create this system. And it's somewhere between like a Sigma 6, belt ranking system and a karate belt ranking system. And I've purchased tools from Developer in the past. I've known him for about 5 or 6 years. I don't really know him personally, but we have made contact with each other online. And Superllama, I remember he used to give challenge locks to Bosnian Bill for many years. This does have some acknowledgements that I'd like to go ahead and cover before talking about this. The acknowledgements are hat tip to the lock classification group is Drauken Ever Huxley Pig. I've known Huxley Pig for like 15 years. He was on keypicking.com a long time ago, and he's accredited to creating one of the most effective and efficient high-end disc detainer tools on the market. And then Lockpicking Heaven's Gate, that's Chris Ahrens, and I actually interviewed him in 2016 or 2017 when he was the first person to pick the American Smart Key Generation 3 lock on camera, and I interviewed him after he did that. Loop Guru 21, Siri MHM, Superllama, the other Matt, Urban Hawk, K2, I don't know how to pronounce that, Pot Kettle Racism, he's not racist, it's just a play on words for, that's the pot calling the kettle black, and Correct Genes, and Captain Hook #1. So all of these people helped put this together. With that being said, my friends, if you're going to go online and create a nickname for yourself, you don't know if it's going to last forever, make sure you pick a good one that is someone can actually pronounce and say out loud, and it not be something that's regrettable or edgy. That being said, so as a way to have fun, perhaps at the expense of Six Sigma, this subreddit gives its members the opportunity to earn user flair in the form of karate belts. Belt flair is issued based on the accomplishments of the member, with each higher level requiring increased community participation in the picking of increasingly difficult locks. Karate belt flair is entirely optional, and members will go unranked until they specifically request ranking by messaging the moderation team with the required documentation as described below. So what it is they started taking these locks and classifying them in different belt ranks. And as you participate in the Reddit community or the Discord community, and you work your way through the belt ranking system, you can submit videos for review, and they can classify your name in that particular color, or they can put the flair of what level you're at. So like I'm a purple belt. So whenever I make a post or make a comment or reply to a post on the subreddits or any subreddit lockpicking, there will be a purple belt next to my name. Alternatively, when I'm on Discord, my name is purple, or my name is in the color purple. So Sandman is in the color purple. And that's really neat for people that are on the online forums. However, if you're not engaged in that online community, there's a really amazing website called lpubelts.com. That's really what this all boils down to. And I really would encourage all of you to go to the product description or the video description down below and take a look at that link, lpubelts.com. I have that sucker favorited and bookmarked on all of my devices. I'm on that thing several times a day, helping people or helping myself. It has thousands of locks that have all been ranked from white belt to black belt. And that's really my the most widely used tool that I have at my disposal in trying to understand what level I am at and what locks I should be working on moving forward in the future. I have people reaching out to me saying, hey, Sandman, I just picked a Schlage SC1. What's the next lock I should pick? And I'll tell them, well, an orange belt is going to be a Yale Y1 keyway because it's highly paracentric, meaning it's extremely difficult to pick through the keyway because there's warding in there. But you could pick that, or you can go ahead and move up to green belt and try your hand at an American lock 1100 with security pins, or a Schlage Everest C123 that has no security pins, but it has a check pin in the back and has really tight tolerances. It's a really high quality lock. Not high security, but high quality lock. So from white belt, yellow belt, and orange belt. So this is a quick set cylinder here. So a quick set. So this has 5 pins, non-security. This is a Schlage SE1 non-security. This is a Yale Y1 non-security. So white, yellow, orange do not have security pins. Once you get into green belt, you will start seeing locks that have small security features, such as the check pin in this Schlage Everest, or you'll start seeing security pins such as we see serrated and we see spooled driver pins in here. So my American lock 1100 is a green belt lock. This Packlock, this is a Packlock 90A Pro. This is a green belt lock because this has security pins. And then we move up to blue belt and we're starting to see not high security, but just more security. We'll just say that. And then so I have I have a best interchangeable core lock in here. This has 7 key pins, 7 driver pins, non-security, but there's 7 of them. And then I have this 90A Pro, and I believe this has 6 or 7 pins. I don't remember how many, but this is going to have all security pins as well. So this is a blue belt lock. So there are multiple locks that you can choose in every given belt rank. But there's only a few key and knob cylinders that you're going to be able to actually apply to these Packlock bodies, and we'll get into that here in a second. So this purple belt is a Medico M3 key and knob cylinder. This brown belt is a Primus cylinder, and then Schlage Primus. And then I have a Medico M4 key and knob cylinder for red belt, and then I have an ASA 700 for black. So this is just something I put together for myself, but I was hoping that maybe I could sell these to the general public. The idea of putting these in Packlock bodies actually comes from the organization called Tool, the Open Organization of Lockpickers, Tool. And the US chapter put together, they contacted Packlock sometime this summer and ordered a bunch of these lock bodies. These are called kicks. So the key and knob bodies, the Packlock kick, and they ordered these with the idea that they could put key and knob cylinders inside of them, so that way you could just hot swap them in and out. And at that same time that they were developing this, I was trying to look at the American Lock 3650 or 3655 series, which is an interchangeable lock body for American locks and other key and knob locks. And I was also looking at, there's like an Avis, I think it's like an 8845 or 88 IC or something like that, or 84 IC, I think it is, interchangeable core. So Avis makes an interchangeable core, Schlage makes an interchangeable core, and American Lock makes an interchangeable core. So I was familiar with locks enough to know that this was a really great idea for Tool to reach out to Packlock, but it's nothing new. It's been around for decades. Abus, Schlage, and American, and a few other companies have all had interchangeable core locks for key and knob cylinders. So it just, but I really appreciate Tool for coming up with the idea of making it accessible to the general public. Tool sells these for about $35. This is their first edition. This is their third edition. I accidentally found a multi-lock cylinder that didn't work properly with the actuator to release the locking mechanism. So this lock is bricked, it's stuck in here. I can still rotate it. It's still functional, and at least the cylinder's functional, but it's not going to actuate it's not going to make contact with the actuator. So I've been trying to slowly remove this and salvage this lock body. So there are some pitfalls to this system. Not all key and knob cylinders will work with the Packlock system. So just the lock bodies by themselves, I reached out to Packlock. My point of contact was Martha, I believe it was. And she was super nice. And she's like, you know what? We have some of these colors. Some of these other colors are kind of a special order. You're going to have to wait several weeks to get them. So I think I had to wait almost 2 months to get the brown, I think it was. And I had to wait probably a month just to get the yellow. Everything else they kind of had in stock. So alternatively, this interchangeable core is a different size body because this is the same size body that their 98 Pro comes in. So this interchangeable core is not of the same size as their kick. So I requested them what would be considered white, which is silver, a yellow, orange, green, blue, purple, brown, red, and black. And I spent $200 on all of these because these are going to retail from Packlock about anywhere between $18 to $22, depending on how many you buy. Obviously, if you can buy in bulk, it's going to be much cheaper. I then went to CLK and UHS Hardware, CLK Supply and UHS Hardware. I'll provide the links in the description down below. And I was able to purchase white through green of these cylinders, I think it was. I think I purchased my Schlage Everest from there. I may not have. But you can essentially purchase white through blue. So you can buy a KW1 Quickset, a Schlage, a Yale, this is a Schlage Everest. I may have purchased it from them. And then I know you can buy interchangeable cores from those websites as well. So white through blue. The number one question on the Reddit Karate Belt ranking system for lockpicking is, what lockpick set should I buy? The second one is, where should I get my locks? And people will say you should get a box of white to blue. So people will then be directed to go to eBay, and there's some dude who sells used locks, and he'll sell you a box of white to blue for like 50 or 60 bucks. So my goal was to try to gamify that and sell these to people using my platform. But the problem is it's just kind of expensive. If these are $20 each, that on my end, if these are $20 each, we're looking at $100 here. And then the cylinders are about $7 to $10 each. So we're looking at about another $50. So we're looking at $150 before I even try to create some type of profit margin. So $150 for 5 locks is not super practical, but it's really great as a collector. But for me to make any type of money on this, just trying to make 20-25% on this, I'd have to charge $200 for these, and nobody's probably going to spend that much on these. I know that these are highly sought after among the people that reach out to me. They say, man, I really want this, tell me how to get it, can you sell it to me? Here's the problem. All of these lock bodies are $200, all of these cores are $500. The ASA 700 is like $75 to $100. The Medico M4, this is $135. Primus, I don't know, 50 to 75. Medico M3, I don't know, 75. And then it becomes more affordable, so it's like $20 for an interchangeable core, and then like $10, $15 for Schlage Everest, and then $6 each for these. But it worked out to be like $700. This is a $700 collection of locks, which some of you have reached out to me and said, I would be willing to pay that. I would pay $500, I would pay $700. But it's not in my best interest to buy $700 in locks and sell them to you for $700. I have a life. So there's just no way that I can conceive to sell these to the general public. I think Tool is doing a great job on their own, selling them in one singular color. But Tool doesn't recognize the Karate Belt system. Tool doesn't, and I think that's one of the biggest failures of Tool. Of all of Tool's strengths and weaknesses, the number one weakness is they have never gamified the lockpicking system, but yet the subreddit of lockpicking, or LPU, has something like 214,000 members. And someone once told me, yeah, but how many of those are active? Doesn't matter. That's 214,000 prospective customers. So if anybody wants to look at Locksport as a hobby that is beyond people purchasing lockpicks across the whole world, across the internet, there are probably 500,000 hobbyists, and 50% of those hobbyists are on Reddit or Discord. At some point in time, they went on there. They may not be active, but they did. And they are looking for locks to buy, and this was the solution to that, but it's just not practical, financially speaking. So how do these work? We just put that aside. I'm gonna take this, I unscrew this guy, screw comes out. This key knob cylinder with an adapter that covers the Bible essentially makes an interchangeable core like that. This fills up the gap, and the screws into this piece right here, comes out. And now I have a key knob cylinder. So this is a quick set key knob cylinder, and that's all it is. Problem is I've actually purchased probably $1,000 worth of these key knob cylinders from white to black, and only 75% of them are actually able to work with this proprietary actuator that's back here. This is not the same as an American actuator. I cannot bypass any of these. I cannot use an American bypass tool to open these. These are not bypassable. You cannot bypass these. So this is a very unique proprietary design from Packlock, which was an upgraded design of what American Lock has. And so that's it. To put it back together, super simple. Just gonna put this right there. Put this in. And now I'm ready to rock and roll. So closes. These are all functioning locks at the end of the day. That's what's cool. These are all hardened steel, you know, grade 8 probably with a chrome polish, hardened steel shackles with an aluminum lock body. These are all still usable locks. I can take this and I can put this on my gate outside if I want, or a locker at the gym. It is what it is. I keep all the keys right here. I'm sorry, I live next to an airport, so if you guys hear planes, it is what it is. Alternatively, what's not new is I've actually been doing this for many years. Is I like to take electrical tape here, and I like to take the karate belt colors here, and I will use these to put tape on all my locks, because some of these locks are really hard to, like all of these right here, they all say Ruco. They all just say Ruco on the front. These are all my Rucos, and this one's an ASA, but Ruco is just another version of ASA. They're owned by ASA. And so this is a 500 sleeved with barrels. The security pins in here are barrels. This is an ASA Ruco non-sleeved with barrels. This is a Ruco 1200 D12 with barrels. This is a Ruco 600 with gins and all countermilling in all six places. I believe it has 6 pins. And this is probably an ASA 700. I don't remember what it is. I'll have to take a look at the key. But this is what I've been doing for the longest time. And these are interchangeable in this guy. So this is an Anchor Lass 802, excuse me, oval. So these, so these actually fit in here. If you don't have the tape on them, they fit in here. So these are interchangeable, hot swappable in this guy. So this is what I've been doing with my high security locks that are foreign. These are not found in the American market. A lot of high security locks are, America's not really known for its high security locks, but all of these locks can be found throughout Europe. So alternatively, I do have this gold lock, and I do have a modified tailpiece on here so this multi-lock, I don't remember what I just said, but multi-lock will work with Packlock if you modify the tailpiece a little bit. But if you're not careful, you'll get it locked up in here like this guy. So this guy's stuck. So I do like to, when I do purchase Packlocks, I have a 98 and 98 Pro. I do like to buy them in the color that this is. So the 98 Pro is blue belt and this 98 is a green belt. And so that just helps me know that this should be a little bit easier than this guy. I think this has one less pin than this one. And I take my my locks and I'll put tape on them. So I know that like this master lock is a number 575 and it is an orange belt level lock. So I do like to do that. So I do have extra Packlocks here so I can, you know, play around and put different types of cores in these, and it is what it is. But that's all this is. The number one resource I do want to stress is the lpubelts.com. Let's talk about the Reddit and Discord community real quick. So I'm not the biggest fan of being online forums anymore. I spent many years, 5 years, just spending like 6 to 8 hours a day in online forums from like 2009, 2010 to 2013, because that's where I met all my friends for Locksport. And I spent a lot of time in the Locksport forums. Today, it's kind of a hit or miss, depending on the day you're on. Given that there's 214,000 members on the subreddit of lockpicking, you are going to see a lot of people that pretend to have knowledge and experience, but they don't. But the Reddit community does a really great job of moderating, and they do a really great job of giving people their karate flair. So if somebody responds to you that has a black belt, listen to them. Brown belt, red belt, purple belt, blue belt even. Those people typically have some experience and know what they're talking about. If somebody is putting out negative posts about stuff that's like, and then like a white belt, you can just dismiss that. So I really like that system in the Reddit community. I think it's a really great way to decide if, just because also if somebody's a black belt, they may be biased, they may not have a ton of experience, but they're really great lock pickers. So I tend to listen to the black belts a little bit more than I will listen to somebody that's not ranked or somebody that's a white belt. There's a lot of blowhards in there, a lot of people that are full of hot air that are not even ranked. And so it's a really great way to just dismiss that diatribe and move forward with your life. However, I would like to say I do spend more time on the Discord system. A Discord is a private server chat room that allows you to talk to people in real time and to get answers to your questions. However, it can be difficult to people that do not do a lot of online chat and do not have a lot of experience with online gaming, because the chat, as soon as you get 15 people in a chat room, that chat is bumping, is what we would call it. Like, it's just constantly moving and flowing, and it's very fast paced, and it can be very intimidating for people that are older and do not have a lot of experience with online chat rooms. And you know what? I'm 39 years old and I spent my 20s in chat rooms, and I don't, sometimes it's a little fast paced for me. But it's a really great place to find out who are the people that know what they're talking about, like Lady Locks and Jim, Georgia Jim, and so many people, Red Wanderer, Rain. I'm gonna get mad, Nixt. I'm gonna get so mad someone's like, how come you didn't mention me, Sandman? I don't know, I'm just throwing out names off the top of my head. It's a really great place to find these people and send them private messages and create a personal dialogue with them and get to know them as an individual and ask them questions when they aren't too busy. So also there's a lot of manufacturers on there. So Jimy Longs is on Discord. So if you have a question for Jimy Longs, or maybe you have a product idea, you can reach out to Jimy Longs. And the same thing with Moki. So Moki is a German manufacturer of high-end lockpicks. He's on there. All kinds of people are on Discord, so that's a really great opportunity. But for the karate belt ranking system, you don't have to go on Reddit or Discord to just know what level you are at. I get people all the time in the Locksport groups saying, hey, Sandman, I just really like the karate belt system for telling me what locks I need to buy, what locks I need to work on and collect, and what locks I can just stay away from. It helps them understand locksmithing and locks in general. If somebody is a yellow belt, an orange belt working on a green belt, they have a whole list of locks. There's like 20 different locks that they can work on to try to get to that. And they have hundreds of locks that they know that they can just stay away from, because it's just going to be the same of what they already know how to do. So it's a really great opportunity just to know what level you're at. And I use it to help classify all of my locks so that way I can know the difference. Otherwise, there is no way of discerning the difference between these three locks without taking them apart. I mean, this one, yeah, it's a D12 keyway, but this one, these two, I have no idea the difference between these two Rucos. But now I have them right here, 600 barrels, 500 sleeve with barrels. That's the difference. And most people don't know that there's a difference in lockpicking if something is a sleeved or non-sleeved. And if you don't know what sleeved and non-sleeved is, then I know you're probably not up here in the ranks because you're not taking locks apart and you're not collecting locks. It's a really great way to assess somebody's knowledge of lockpicking and Locksport in general. Now, there are a lot of really great lockpickers that don't prescribe to this, but I can look at their profile page on Facebook or Instagram, and I can look at the locks that they picked, and I can know what level lockpicker they're at and what level they're not. There are a lot of personalities in Locksport, and I could look at the locks like Lockpicking Lawyer, he's a black belt level, but Bosnian Bill was a purple belt level. Me, I'm a purple belt level. I'm not trying to compare myself to them, but I can look at the history of the locks that they have picked and know that they have never some people have never picked brown or red or black, so I know exactly what level they are at. It doesn't mean that they are less knowledgeable or less experienced, but it does give you an idea that when you have a question about a brown belt lock, I don't want to go to a blue belt and ask him. If I have a question about a red belt lock or a black belt lock, I don't need to be talking to people who are yellow belt and orange belts. I really like that. That being said, I think one of the best lock pickers I've ever seen are all going to be black belt level lock pickers and then lockpicking lawyer. If he's not a black belt, then he's somewhere between red and black, and he will find like 10 or 20 locks of each belt level and pick them all blind. He doesn't progressively pin them. He is, in my opinion, therefore one of the best lock pickers currently active. But that being said, there are some amazing pickers out there, and I don't know what their level they're at unless it's in their name or their karate flair, or I can look at the locks and I can make the assessment. So that's really all I have to say about all of this. I don't know what else to provide. We're 26 minutes in. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you put tape on your locks to know the difference in difficulty of these locks? Have you ever used lpubelts.com? If you haven't, check that out in the link down below. I have that bookmarked on my cell phone and my iPad. This is a really neat idea. This thing right here, but this is $750. I wanted to put this together and I wanted to call it the dojo. And you could buy these lock bodies individually. You could buy the key knob locks individually, and then I would sell a gold one. So if you didn't have the budget to spend $200 on lock bodies, then I would just sell you one gold one with a neat design on it, and you can buy all the cylinders individually. I would call it the dojo. But alternatively, if you were to buy white through black, if the name is not trademarked, I think it would be cool to call it the Infinity Gauntlet. That's all I have, guys. It's a super expensive idea. It's just not something I can bring to market. I've talked to multiple distributors about it. I appreciate them taking the time to talk to me about this and helping me realize that it's just not something that's financially viable. And all this stuff is heavy. It's heavy, so shipping is going to cost a lot. Storage of, let's say if you buy 100 of each color, now you have 1,000 lock bodies. That's going to take up space. It is what it is. I wanted to see this thing come to fruition, but I just don't see it happening. So hopefully I was able to answer some of your questions, and I hope that scratches the itch for some of you. That's all I have today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're new here, hit subscribe. I'm sorry. I know the subject material was all over the place in this video, but I did my best to stay on point. And let me know in the comments down below. Is this something that you could see coming to market? Is this something that you want for yourself? What do you think the price point of this should be? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll catch you guys next time.
Mr. Sandman.